Hi everybody, I'm Miss Alene, and I want to thank you guys for joining us today on Armstrong Channel 20 and 100 for Kids Corner. Today I'm here at Austintown Intermediate School with the 3rd grade class, and it's all about bears and books. So stay tuned, we've got a lot of fun stuff planned for you. We've got 2 stories and a really fun bear project to share. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I am so glad to be here at Austintown Intermediate School with all of you guys. So, are we excited about what we've got going on today? Yeah. My name is Miss Alene, and again, I am super glad to meet all of you guys. Today, our theme is all about books and bears. Who likes bears? I like bears too. Have any of you guys ever seen a real bear? Where'd you see a real bear? One person. You.
At a zoo.
At a zoo? Cool.
I went to this one place where they had like the fur and stuff, but they just put the fur on top of wood.
Oh, okay. So you got to feel real bear fur. That's pretty cool. Was it soft? How about you?
I went to the zoo and I went to the zoo and I saw a real bear.
Did you? Okay. Did you? What did you feed it?
I fed it there's the 2 bears and you like stick a stick in there and they fight over it.
Oh my goodness. Could you tell us one more time, what is a baby bear called? A cub. So did your mom and dad call you a cub when you were little? No, that's a little different than us, huh? So in our first story, we're going to talk a little bit about a few of those things. Do you have a question?
Get milk from their mom.
That's true, and usually their moms or their dads get to care for them while they're little babies and help them grow up so that they can get older and live on their own eventually. Can anybody tell me, do you guys know that there are 2 kinds of stories that you can write or read? Does anybody know the names of those? How about you?
Fiction and nonfiction.
Excellent. Now I'm going to tell you what fiction and nonfiction are just in case you don't know or don't remember right now. A fiction story is a make-believe story. A nonfiction story is a true story. Has anybody ever heard of Winnie the Pooh? Me too. When I was little, I actually read Winnie the Pooh books too. Has anybody ever read a Winnie the Pooh book? Very cool. All right, so how many of you knew that Winnie the Pooh was actually based off of a true bear? Yeah, there's a couple of you guys who did know. So today, we're gonna read a story that is a very special nonfiction, which means what? Can you guys tell me out loud? Real. It's a real story about Winnie the Pooh. And this book is called Winnie, the True Story of the Bear Who Inspired Winnie the Pooh. And it's by Sally Walker. When Harry Colborne looked out of the train window, he couldn't believe what he saw. A bear at the station. The train stop would be short, but Harry had to get off and see the bear for himself. Harry hurried onto the platform and sat nearby. "What are you doing here, little bear?" The cub climbed into Harry's lap and licked his chin. "She's for sale," said the man holding her, and he explained to Harry that he had found Winnie while he was out hunting. And he took Winnie, but he couldn't keep her. Harry could care for the bear. He was a veterinarian. Does anybody know what a veterinarian is? How about you?
It's somebody who takes care of pets when they're sick and stuff, and they have like the office to get them better.
That's exactly right. And even sometimes they'll go out of their office and go to the zoo or go to wherever the animal is to help take care of them and get them better again. Do you guys go to a veterinarian when you get sick or you need a doctor? No? Where do you go? The doctor's office. That's true. Sometimes you go to the hospital, but most of the time you just go to the doctor's office and you get a checkup and they help you out and you're all better, right? Okay. So Harry, the man here who had found Winnie the Pooh at the train station, he was a veterinarian. How much? Harry asked. $20. The train whistle blew and Harry decided. He paid for the bear, picked up the cub, and carried her onto the train. Harry's friends asked a million questions, but the captain asked the loudest, "Harry, what in the world were you thinking?" That I had to save the bear. The cub rubbed her back against the captain's legs. The captain patted her head. "I'll care for her, sir," Harry said. "I'll feed her condensed milk, and she can stay with me in camp. Winnipeg can be our mascot." "You've already named her?" asked the captain. "Yes, sir, after our company's hometown." "Well, Winnipeg," the captain said, "welcome to the Army." By the time they reached the military training camp at Valcartier in Quebec, Winnipeg had been shortened to Winnie. So that makes it a nickname, right? Harry's job was caring for horses that would be needed for battle. Winnie's job was being Harry's shadow. You see, Winnie following him everywhere he goes. While Harry listened to a horse's heart, Winnie nuzzled its muzzle. If the horse snorted and scared Winnie, Harry cuddled her until she stopped trembling. Winnie's favorite game was hide-and-seek biscuits. Using her long claws, she pulled the hidden biscuits from Harry's pockets. "Good girl," Harry praised her when she succeeded. Sometimes, Harry went places that Winnie couldn't go. The other soldiers cub sat. Are there ever times when your mom and dad have to go take care of something or go to work or something and they get you a cub sitter?
No.
What's the name of somebody who kind of watches over you guys when you need somebody to watch over you?
A babysitter.
A babysitter, excellent. They photographed Winnie. They took her for walks. But no matter where Winnie went during the day, she slept under Harry's cot every night. Almost like a teddy bear, huh? One morning, while Harry tied his bootlaces, Winnie grabbed the tent pole. The tent walls shook. "Winnie, no!" Harry shouted. After that, Harry let Winnie climb small trees, but he always had her leash so she couldn't climb too high. Why do you think he had her leash so she couldn't climb too high? How about you?
So she didn't fall off.
That, or maybe what else? That's right, so she wouldn't get lost up the tree, because who's going to be able to climb as high as a bear? Did you guys know that bears are very good climbers?
Yes.
That's right. As time went on, because Harry was in the military and his job was caring for the animals that were going to be used in battle, he had to go to different places to go care for these animals, especially horses that they used. And some of the places he didn't want to take Winnie because it'd be dangerous. And you wouldn't take your puppy or your kitty into somewhere dangerous, would you? No. You'd put her somewhere or him somewhere where they'd be safe while you had to go wherever you had to go. So Harry had a hard decision to make. And he had an idea. So he started making calls and he found a zoo in London. And they had created a place called Mappin Terraces. And at this place, they had built a special area just for bears. Does that sound like it's a good idea? Somewhere they could take Winnie and she'd probably have fun? The ride to the zoo was long. Winnie sat on Harry's lap. She wiggled on the seat. She scratched at the door. Harry was relieved when he and Winnie got out at the zoo. A zookeeper escorted Harry and Winnie to the Mappin Terraces. Harry removed Winnie's collar and leash. She climbed over a rock. She sniffed 2 brown cubs. She lapped condensed milk when the zookeeper offered it. Harry was satisfied. Winnie, I'll visit whenever I can. When the war ends, we'll go home to Winnipeg. Harry hugged Winnie goodbye. Winnie and the brown cubs became fast friends, but the big Himalayan bear she approached wasn't so friendly. He swatted at Winnie. Winnie ran as fast as she could. The zookeepers were worried, but even that grumpy old Himalayan bear couldn't resist Winnie. Within a few days, they were playing tug-of-war with a stick. And one of you guys said you had played with a stick with the bear. That's right. See, bears like to play with sticks. We've never met a bear as gentle as Winnie, the zookeeper said. They trusted her so much that they sometimes let children ride on her back. Wouldn't that be cool? Harry visited Winnipeg whenever he could, but the war lasted 4 years. During that time, the zookeepers took good care of his bear. Winnie had many friends, and in 1919, just before Harry returned to Winnipeg, he made another hard decision. He decided that Winnie would stay at the London Zoo permanently. Harry was sad, but he knew Winnie would be the happiest in the home that she knew best. One day, when Winnie was nearly 11 years old, a little boy visited her. Oh, bear! Does that sound familiar? Anybody remember that from the Winnie the Pooh stories? Oh, bear! Cried the boy, whose name was Christopher Robin. He hugged Winnie and fed her milk. The boy's father, a well-known author, watched his son laugh and play with the bear. All the way home, Christopher Robin talked about Winnie. At bedtime, Christopher Robin and his teddy snuggled under the covers. Would you and Edward Bear like to hear a story? Asked the boy's father. Yes, said Christopher Robin, but Edward has changed his name to Winnie the Pooh. Once upon a time, said his father, a bear named Winnie the Pooh lived in a forest. More stories followed until one day they grew into a book. And after that, the real Winnie became even more famous. And although more people came to see her, Winnie's everyday life remained normal. The zookeepers treated her kindly. Friendly visitors scratched her back, and gentle children spoon-fed her milk. For Winnie, this was the best way to care for a bear. And that is the end of Winnie, the true story of the bear who inspired Winnie the Pooh. Did you guys like that? Yes. Pretty cool, huh? So when I ask you, what do we say to the bear? I want you guys to say, shh, quiet in the library, okay? Can you guys practice that for me? Shh, quiet in the library. Excellent. All right. Bear had never been to the library. He had 7 very nice books at home. 3 about kings and queens, 3 about honeybees, and one about pickles. Bear was quite sure he had all the books he would ever need. One morning, Bear heard a tap, tap, tap at his door. When he opened the door, there was Mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. "We are off," exclaimed Mouse, with a happy wag of his whiskers. Bear frowned. He had agreed to go with Mouse to the library, but now he was quite sure it was a dreadful mistake. "Completely unnecessary," Bear announced. "I have all the books I need right here." "Oh, there are many delightful books at the library," Mouse assured him. "Humph," Bear grumbled. But he had promised. And do we break promises? No. So he buckled up his red roller skates. Do bears wear skates? No. No. Be pretty funny to see a bear on skates, though. And he stepped outside, grabbing a basket for the books. Bear skated and Mouse rode in the basket to the library, the wind rippling nicely through their fur. But when they got to the library, Bear didn't like how big it looked. "There are far too many books in there," he protested, "most excessive." "Oh no, it's quite exciting," Mouse said, leading Bear through the tall doors. In the library were many more books than Bear had ever thought there could be. He quickly found a tucked away corner, but even here, there were lots and lots of books. Does it sound like Bear likes the idea of all these books? No, he doesn't. Terribly extravagant. Bear's voice was a little loud. And what do we say to Bear when he's being a little loud? Shh, quiet in the library. "I shall find you the perfect one," Mouse said quietly in his library voice. "One about pickles," commanded Bear. After all, he only had one of those. But Mouse had whisked away. Does he look very happy there? No, he doesn't look like he's having too much fun at all. Mouse came back with a thick green book. Bear opened it. "Rocket ships? Ridiculous!" Bear's voice was getting louder. And what do we say to Bear when he's being loud? Shh, quiet in the library. "A good book about pickles is all I require." "Remember, quiet in the library," murmured Mouse as he scurried off. He soon returned with a tall yellow book. "I'm not interested in wooden canoes." Bear's voice was even louder. "Quiet voices in the library," Mouse reminded him. "My voice is always quiet," Bear shouted. "I will find my own book. I can assure you that pickles are quite interesting." Mouse didn't look so sure, but Bear quickly spotted a blue book with a pickle on the spine, and Mouse sprang up the shelf to get it for him. But inside there were pictures of pickles, but the pickles had fairy wings, and they were dancing with petunias. "No dancing pickles!" Bear roared. What do we say to Bear? Shh, quiet in the library. "Shh," a voice said. Bear peeked around the bookshelf. There sat a librarian with a cluster of youngsters gathered around her. The librarian smiled, but a mother squirrel squished a very angry finger against her lips. and an old raccoon said sternly, "Quiet in the library." Bear turned back with a huffy sniff. "I know when I'm not wanted," he told Mouse. "I want to go home." "Surely at least one book," Mouse begged. But Bear cut him off. "I have all the books I need." He looked quite certain. "Then we're off," said Mouse, but his whiskers didn't wag this time. Why do you think that was? How about you? He was sad. That's true. And when your puppy is happy, does his tail wag? Yeah. Yep, just like a mouse. When he's happy, his whiskers will wag. Bear stood stock still, which means he stood very still. He was listening carefully to a voice on the other side of the bookshelf. So the very brave bear began to inch his way toward the treasure chest, the voice was saying. "I'm ready," began Mouse. "Shh!" exclaimed Bear. "It's just getting to the good part." "But you said..." "Quiet voices in the library!" Bear bellowed. Why do you think Bear wants him to be quiet now? He wanted to listen to the story. Was that what you were going to say too? Okay. This time the librarian got up and looked around the bookshelf at Bear. Bear stood very still and quiet, as if he had been still and quiet all along. "Would you like to join story time?" the librarian asked. Bear glanced at Mouse. "We'd love to have you," said the librarian. Bear and Mouse scooted around the shelf, found 2 empty chairs. The librarian began to read again. Bear lifted the lid to the treasure chest, and inside, the librarian paused, Mouse and Bear strained forward. Inside, she said, was a mound of pickle slices. And each shining slice was made of diamonds and gold. And everyone shouted, "Hooray for the very brave brown bear!" Then she said, "The end." Bear stared dreamily into space for a moment. Then he looked over at Mouse and announced, "As I said, pickles are most interesting." "Indeed," said Mouse. Later, Mouse rode in the basket with 7 new books. There were 2 about wooden canoes, 2 about rocket ships, 2 about teapots. And what do you think the last one's going to be about?
Pickle.
And 1 more called The Very Brave Bear and the Treasure of Pickle Island, which Bear read to Mouse that very same day. And that was A Library Book for Bear by Bonnie Becker. Did you guys like that story?
Yes.
All right, guys, thank you for being such great listeners. And now it is time for us to make our very own bear.
Yay.
So what we're gonna do is we're each gonna get a paper plate. And if you can look at the paper plate, you'll see that inside the middle, there is already a line for a circle. Does everybody kind of see that? Yeah? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your scissors and you are going to cut up to that circle and cut around. So count 4 bumps, and then after that 4th bump, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're gonna cut that piece. So our next step, we are going to take our glue sticks and put some glue on one side at the top and on the other side at the top. And then we're gonna take our fork and we're gonna stick our fork in the paint, and we are going to start making streaks. So our next step is we're gonna take the black squares that we just passed out to you guys, and we're gonna take our scissors and we're gonna cut around the edges and make it nice and round again. And what you're gonna come out with is something like that. And we're gonna use that to stick right in the middle for our bear's nose. If your paint is really wet still, you can just stick the eyes on it and they will stick. And you're gonna go under your nose for your bear, and you're just gonna make one line going like that, like a J, and the other one going like that. Thank you guys so much for joining us for our All About Books and Bears Day. Hope you guys enjoyed our 2 stories, and don't forget to tune in next time, Armstrong Cable, Channel 20 and 100 for Kids Corner.